Good morning, everyone. How are you doing this morning? I hope you guys are waking up and getting around to your day. I am actually getting ready for work. Um, Neil did me a solid this morning and took Nate to school so I could actually get myself ready this morning. Hey, Christy, because whenever I have to wake up early to take Nate to school, oh, that's my pill bottle. I can't because it's so early. It's like 7 o'clock in the morning when I take him to school. So, hey, Audrey, welcome. That I don't get a chance to put my makeup on. So I can put my makeup on and talk to you guys this morning. So I can get ready for work. So I only have to do one store today, but it's my biggest store. And so it's like the biggest mess that I have. Melvin, that is so awesome. Melvin, I'm proud of you. That is great. Okay, now get connected, okay? Stay connected to us. Don't run off, because that's what'll happen is you'll get sober, you'll be doing real good, and you'll leave behind all that support, right? And I've seen it happen so many times. I've seen so many people get sober, use the support while they need it, and then they leave, right? And then the next thing you know, they come back and they're like, you know the story. So stay connected to the people that are holding you accountable and that are helping you stay sober. So I expect to see you in the live streams at least twice a week in the evening times. Okay? Don't be MIA. I want to see you twice a week for our meetings in the evening. Hey, Michelle. So, and I know y'all are probably going, who do you think you are, Nicole? Okay, cool. Good deal. Here's the thing. Hey, Tend the Garden Now. Good morning. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, good. All my people that I don't get to see that often are here because it's morning. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, familia. How is everybody doing? So I wanted to come on and talk to you guys and let y'all know. So last night I did a live stream and there was a bunch of us girls in there. We were talking about medically assisted treatment and pregnancy and all those kind of things. So I want to kind of venture off from that today, because I know there are some people on my channel that are abstinent, and I had a request last night if I would do almost like a step one meeting tonight. And so what I was thinking we could do is, you guys, I got all the readings and stuff, and we can read how it works out of the big book, which is how it works. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Okay, that part. We can read that, and then we can do our little serenity prayer. How do I deal with an addict going through withdrawal process while trying to love myself? Well, Audrey, that's a great question. Well, is your addicted loved one, hey Cece, is your loved one in a detox, or are they withdrawing at home? Now, what are they withdrawing from? Because it can be dangerous to withdraw at home. If you can get them into a detox, that would be ideal. That would be the best thing you could do for them, because that will allow them to be somewhere safe where they're medically monitored, and that will allow you some time to get yourself together while they're in detox. It's about a week process. They'll go in, be there for about 5 days, and then if they want to continue on their treatment, they can go from there into a rehab, which is what I would do. Because here's the deal. I'm having a time with my brother. He's on meth. We tried to get him sent off to rehab, and they wouldn't send him. Cece's life, hold that thought. Audrey, home and pills, and they refuse to think they need strong help. Okay, so this is the thing, Audrey. If they're refusing to think that they need help, but what that tells me is that they're not ready or willing to do everything they've got to do to change. Now, this whole withdrawing at home thing, I wish them the best of luck. I hope they make it. But I've seen people do this. I used to do it all the time. I used to say, I'm kicking today. I'm not taking another pill. And then I would make everybody around me miserable for about a week. And then you know what I would do? After that week was up, I would go out and get high. Because I didn't have any support. I didn't go into treatment. I didn't start going to meetings. I didn't go to therapy. There you go. So here's the deal. If I was you, Audrey, are you head of household, or is there a way where you can tell him, like, if you're going to stay in active addiction, you can't stay here. You've got to get help. That's how my family had to do for me. They had to tell me, hey, if you're going to be actively using, you can't stay here. And they put me out. And that was when I was like 19 years old. And I didn't get sober until I was 32 years old, you guys. So them putting me out didn't bother me none. I just kept on doing what I wanted to do, you know. And a lot of us addicts are very resourceful. We will find a way to make it work, you know. So if you get him out of there, well, that's good. At least you don't have him underneath your roof causing all kinds of chaos. That is wonderful. You know, invite him over here to the channel to hang out with us. But I'm going to tell you, the first step to recovery is admitting that you have a problem. And if he doesn't even think that he's got a problem, then we're in the very beginning stages. What happens usually when somebody's like not to that point where they can admit that they have a problem, this is usually what has to happen. Something bad has to happen. Maybe they get in trouble by the law. Maybe they get pulled over driving under the influence. Maybe their family members say, hey, you can't come around here anymore. But as a sober person, you've got to lay down some boundaries with him and let him know, hey, I love you, but I'm not going to co-sign your bullshit anymore. If you want to be on pills, you can stay on pills over there, and you can't be over here. Like, and I know it's like, oh my God, that's so mean. No, it's not mean, because you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. He admitted it yesterday, but turned it into an argument with me because I made a comment about myself. And that's the thing, like, a lot of people, that's manipulation, Audrey. That's what a lot of us addicts will do, especially because we know we have a problem. We feel bad in the inside, but we don't want you talking about it. How dare you tell me I have a problem? You don't know what I've been through. All manipulation. Set a boundary. That's what you got to do. As the healthy, sober person, you've got to set a boundary. And you have to say, I'm done. I'm not feeding into this anymore. This is it. I'm putting my foot down. And you can say this: when you're ready to get help, I will be here for you. I will do whatever I can to help you. But until then, I'm out. Well, Audrey, I know, because I've been there. I used to do the same thing to my mom and dad. I totally know, because we don't want you telling us about ourselves, you know, but we will for sure switch it on you and make you feel like you're the one in the wrong. Because, like I said, when we're in our active addiction, we don't want to take a look at us. You know, we are in this like tunnel zone, and all that we see is pills or dope or whatever the drug of choice is, alcohol. That's all we see. We don't see our children over here. We don't see our job over here. And so Cece said her brother's on methamphetamine and he does not want help, or he won't take help. And here's the thing, Cece, with methamphetamine, and I know all about methamphetamine. I was the same way. We got to get your brother on a day where he's been sleeping for 3 days, okay, where he's not under the influence of that methamphetamine. All right? Because when you're under the influence of meth, it's just total drug psychosis. Total, especially if he's staying up for long periods of time without any kind of sleep. Again, the best thing you guys can do for your brother, Cece, is to put a boundary up. He's not allowed at the house. He can't come over there. If he doesn't get help, he's out. He's X'd from the family. If he has children, he doesn't need to be allowed to see his kids if he's under the influence and if he's still actively using. He needs to have consequences. And that's the thing. As loved ones of addicts, we don't give consequences because we're afraid the addict is going to be mad at us. We're afraid the addict is going to go out and overdose. We're afraid the addict is going to die. But here's the thing. That's not your responsibility. You're going to love them to death. Now, you've got to put up a boundary and say, I'm done. Until you get help, you cannot come around here. Because we will suck you dry. Okay? And it's not because we're bad people. It's not because, because we're sick. And because that's what addiction does to you. You take, you take, you take, you take. And I'm telling you right now, if you tell them that they have to be gone and you set that boundary with them, I promise you, if they're not ready to get sober, they will just go find someone else to suck dry. Us drug addicts are very, very, very smart, very manipulative. We can pull at the heartstrings. We can get you to do anything for us. So, like I said, my mom and dad kicked me out. I just went and found somebody to go live with. And then we got, we were high together. Each time people would set a boundary with me, I would just go to the next person and suck them dry until they got tired of me. And then I would go to the next person and suck them dry. It's like, that's what addiction does. It sucks the life out of everybody around. I'm going to tell you guys a little story about my friend that called about her son this week. So I have a lady that I forever owe her because she was my boss at my old job, and she allowed me to stay employed there for as long as she could without getting in trouble. She was just an enabler. She enabled me. Okay? Yeah, and Audrey, what happens is when you're like trying to worry about him, it's breaking your heart. It's tearing you apart. You know what I mean? Like, and he's not thinking about, oh, I'm hurting my sister, or I'm hurting my mom. He's not even thinking about you. So you don't need to, I'm telling you, the best thing you can do is give them the gift of desperation and set your walls up and put that wall up and tell everybody you know that's connected to him. We've got to be a team. That's the thing. All the people got to get together as a team. Mom can't set the boundary and then dad let the kid in, right? Sister can't set the boundary and then brother let the brother in. Everybody, you have to be a united front. This is what my mom said. You have to be a united front. Lock arms, and form a chain around the addict and let them know we're all on the same page and we're not feeding into your bullshit anymore. And hopefully that will push them in the right direction, Sometimes what happens is they'll just go out and find somebody else like I did. And I did that, like I said, for 10 more years, you guys, just running the streets. So, let me tell you about my friend that's a mother. So my friend has a son, and he's 38, okay? He's been strung out on heroin and meth 15 years, all right? She's been rescuing him from bad situation to bad situation and bad situation for 15 years, okay? Every time he gets in trouble, she bails him out of jail. Every time he goes to treatment, she picks him up when he leaves early. I mean, she is his number one enabler, okay? She is his main source of getting back on his feet when he hits a rough spot. So he got arrested on Saturday for big charges, $200,000 bail. Possession, intent to manufacture and deliver, I mean, just all kinds of stuff. So she called me and she was like, I need to get him out. It's, this is how much I got to pay, blah, blah, blah. What do you think I should do? I told her, you better leave him in there. So I got her talked into leaving him in there and letting him sit, right? And, yeah, so that's the thing. He's in jail, right? in county, you guys, and he's calling his mom and telling his mom that that they're gonna kill him in county jail. Now listen to me, you guys. County jail is not shit. I went to prison for a whole year and I didn't even get into one fight. It was fine. Like, I did fine. So for this 38-year-old man to be acting like he's going to die in the prison is just so laughable to me. So she called me and she's like, he says they think he's a snitch and they're going to murder him. And I'm like, I had to calm her down and tell her, he is manipulating you. He is lying to you. This is all a lie. This is all a way to get you out, right? To get you to get him out. Oh no, not here in Pulaski County. They keep him on 23-hour lockdown. It's nothing. It's boring and it sucks, but it ain't hard. So I used to visit my friend in there all the time. And it's just county, y'all. It's like, seriously, not even, it's like when you go into county jail, like I said, they keep you on lockdown for 23 hours out of the day here where we are because, well, there's really not anything else to do with them. And there's not like, it's pods is what it is. So he's 38 years old. He's a big guy. He can handle his own. So he's like calling her and begging her to get him out, right? Hey, Amy, thanks. Begging her to get him out and saying, you know, like, please come get me out. They're going to kill me. I'm going to die. And because he wants to get out to get heroin, you guys. He's been in since Saturday, okay? She called me on Tuesday. I said, listen, he's already halfway through his withdrawal. Leave him in there and let him get sobered up. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to call my friend Muskie because he works with the guys in the jail. And I'm going to get him to go over there and check on dude, right? So I called Muskie up. I told him the situation. He said the same thing. He goes, tell her to leave him in there and let him go through his withdrawal so that way when we get him out and put him in treatment, he'll have his wits about him. Because if we get him out now, he's going to be fiending. He's going to be wanting to go get dope. Let's let him get those drugs out of his system, right? So I gave Muskie her number, and he called Muskie. Or he called her. Hey, Captain. He called her up and said, hey, you know, talk to her, calmed her down a little bit. And he went up there to see the dude and check on him. And this is what he's going to do. This is so awesome, you guys. He's going to go up to the judge and go to the judge because he works hand in hand with the jail. And he's going to talk to the judge about releasing this guy to him so he can put him in his treatment program. That's 18 months long. And so that way, he won't ever even have to go to prison as long as he goes in and stays in this treatment program and follows the rules and gets rehabilitated. So instead of sitting in jail and rotting, he has an opportunity to change his life and become a sober, valuable member of society. Okay? So I'm praying that he takes the chance, you know? But that's the thing, you guys, like, through getting sober and living my life right and doing the right thing, I have so many connections like that here in my home state, in Kentucky, in New Jersey, in everywhere, of people that will be willing, if somebody is willing to change their life, I have people that are willing to help you change your life. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's all about. We all just want to help other people to do better because we've been there. And so yesterday I made a video about what it's like to be an addict. And, you know, I wasn't trying to get people to feel bad for addicts or, you know, but I was trying to get people to understand and have compassion. Because having a drug addiction, it's like, it makes you feel like shit. Because you want to be better. A lot of us want to be better. Now, some of us will be in our active addiction, and you might see it as a person not wanting to be better. But really all it is them not knowing how to be, you know? And we have to, there's this thing called a moment of clarity, all right? And a lot of us people that are in recovery will talk about how we have to catch the addict when they're having a moment of clarity. And if we can get a hold of that person and help them when they're seeing the light, when they're seeing how fucked up their life is, then they might have a chance to recover. But it's hard to get a hold of people when they're in that moment of clarity, because you don't ever know when it's going to be. You know, you don't never know when a drug addict's going to come to their senses. So that's why that's why we have channels, like, that's why I have my channel, because I'm speaking hope all day long. So if you watch my videos and you're in active addiction, you can come over here and catch a hope shot all day. I got 500 videos of me speaking about hope and bettering my life. So if you're struggling out there and you think, I can't do this, I'm never going to make it, I have something to tell you. 500 videos show you that I have changed my life, that I am a new woman, that I am a better person now. Like, y'all, I was talking, me and my husband Neil were laying in bed, and I was talking to them about George, my friend here on YouTube. He has a channel called My Benzo Hell. And I was kind of explaining to him that, like, I think what happens is a lot of people don't understand, unless you've been down the road that a lot of us have been down, it's hard to relate when you hear somebody like me talking about stealing purses to sell to the dope man, right? Oh, it's okay. It's hard to relate when you hear somebody like, oh, wow, she was that desperate that she would risk her freedom to get dope. Well, yeah, that's what addiction does to you. It makes you that desperate that you're willing to do whatever you've got to do to get what you got to get. You know, and that desperation is also what will help you get sober. Because when you get to a point when you're like, okay, I've exhausted every hustle, okay? I had got to the end of my rope, and I had no more hustles left. I got busted doing my purse hustle. I was getting in trouble by my husband and my mother-in-law. You know, they were getting tired of me running around acting like I didn't have no responsibilities. And that the rubber was meeting the road. They were telling me, you know, like, you got to get out of here because you're going to die. So, but even that coming from them, it didn't matter. You know what I mean? I had to want to change, and I had to have some sort of motivation to do that. Because what had happened to me from being in addiction for so many years is I lost purpose. I had no reason to live. That's how I felt. I felt like I didn't matter. And so why? What's the point of changing? I've been doing it this long. That's the mentality that I had for so many years. And then I got blessed with this beautiful baby boy, and that kind of changed my perception. And I started thinking, well, maybe I need to do something different, you know? But what happened is I didn't know how. So I have this baby, and I don't know how to be sober. I don't know how to be a good mom. I don't know how to do anything. So I had to get help. And the only way I could get help is my son being taken from me. Because it had to open my eyes up. Because I couldn't see anything else. And you know what, Audrey? I'm so proud of you, girl, because I couldn't do it for myself. I didn't have enough. I had no self-confidence, no self-esteem, no self-love. I mean, I would do anything for drugs. Anything. So when you're down to the bottom, there's really nowhere else to go but up to the top, you know? But I needed somebody to give me a hand up, because I didn't know where to start. And I guess that's why I'm here on my channel, because I want to help people that don't know where to start. Because I needed guidance, you guys. It was really, really difficult at the beginning because, like I said, it's like everything changes. Every single thing in your life changes when you get off drugs. And then what happens when you stop taking the drugs is you feel like shit. When you don't have drugs to rely on, man, it's hard. And some of you people that are normal, that have never abused drugs, you're probably like, well, I do life every day without drugs. But that's the thing. You have to think about it. Like, imagine needing something every day to function. That's what it's like for somebody that's in addiction. And it's just like, it's unfortunate that, you know, I didn't have the coping skills to do life without drugs, you know. But now that I've, you know, been sober for a little bit, now I'm learning how to cope with life, right? I'm learning how to cope with life on life's terms, as they say in the program. And each day I learn something new, you guys. Like, it's really, really difficult sometimes, you know. I'm so happy God stuck with me. Yeah, and that's the thing, like, that's really all it is, you guys, is divine intervention, okay? Whatever you believe in, I respect that, but let me just share something with you, okay? When I started, I used to take pills to feel good. Then I was a slave to them and had to take them not to be sick. Amy, and that's what it is with opiate addiction. It's so crazy because a lot of people that would never have been addicted become addicted because of the dependency to the opiate, right? So maybe they weren't even practicing negative behaviors. Maybe they weren't even addicted. They were just dependent on their medication. But what happened is no one told them, hey, when you take this medication, your body is going to become dependent on it. The doctors totally screwed up because back in the 90s when they started writing scripts for OxyContin, the people that made OxyContin told the doctors, this medication is not addictive. It's a great medication for pain, and so many people's lives are going to be changed because of this medication. And so the doctors, instead of being straight up and telling the truth, because the doctors knew that an opiate was addictive, they went ahead and passed it off as non-addictive, blah, 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 right? And how many of you ask a bunch of questions when the doctor gives you medication? I mean, you might now, but back in the day, you didn't ask no questions. You went in there, you got your prescription, and you were on your way. Oh, great, I have backaches. This is going to help me with my pain. Right? Now, that's not my story. I got hooked on drugs because I was partying as a young kid and blah, blah, blah. Later on down the road, I got a prescription, and that just helped me get even more hooked. But a lot of people's story is because they were dependent on their opiates, and then they got yanked off of them. And that just makes me so sad, you guys. That's what's happening with a lot of people, and a lot of people are mixing in with people like me who was just straight up addicted because I went out and started partying like a dumbass and made bad choices. You know what I mean? And then that disease of addiction took over, because that's what happens. It's like, it might all start out as, just like I said, a weekend warrior party thing, like when I was in high school. But what happens is, that's when the phenomenon of craving kicks in the brain. That's the part of the brain that another person that doesn't have the disease has. So when people tell me, you know, oh, addiction's not a disease, I have a little chuckle inside. And I think, how stupid could you be? Addiction is absolutely a fucking mental disorder, okay? Because we have shit in our brain that produces that a normal person doesn't have. A person who doesn't have the disease, you can line up 7 or 8 people and you can give them all cocaine, okay? And 3 of them will say, well, 4 of them will say, this stuff makes my heart beat too fast. I don't like how this makes me feel. It makes me feel out of control. I'm not ever doing this again. I want to go to sleep. And then the other 4 people or 3 people will say, that gave me energy. I feel like Superwoman. I can do... That's the phenomenon of craving. That's the mental obsession in the brain. That's the difference between an addict and a non-addict, is that mental obsession, that craving inside of the brain. And when that kicks off, we're like, I need more, you know, like robots. And so there's a difference. And if you want to say that you don't have a disease and you want to call it whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to do, honey, don't lie to yourself, though. Because nobody in their right mind runs around pumping themselves full of drugs unless they have something going on upstairs that ain't right, which is the disease. Right. My mom passed away, almost got hooked on Oxycontin. I had to take them and wean her off of them to only use when necessary. And that's what'll happen a lot too, Audrey, is to older people. You know, the doctor doesn't tell the doctors don't tell them that this is like so addictive, you know, and then they're so sick without it, and it just breaks my heart, you guys. But then there's people, like I said, like people like me and people like George, who we started, you know, younger and started using drugs and alcohol, and it was just all fun and games. It was just partying. We were just trying to fit in, and that's what a lot of addicts like me and George and probably other ones that are on here is. We have this inside. We have a hole, okay? We have this void that we feel like we need to fill ourselves up with something else because we just don't quite fit in. You know what I mean? Like, we just are different and we feel different. We can feel the difference, okay? And imagine being a young kid and you're at school and you know you're different than everybody else. That's what addiction is like. It's what do they say? A malady, a spiritual malady, okay? It's like we're searching for something. We're searching for something, this never-ending substance that will make us feel good forever. And that's the thing, you guys. Like, now that I'm living my life right and I'm sober and I'm making good decisions, what I'm learning now is that life's not perfect. It's okay for me to have bad days. I'm not going to want to be 100% on my A game every single day. And if I want to lay in bed and be a depressed mess for one day out of the week, there's nothing wrong with that. But I used to, when I was in active addiction, I used to put so much, it was like if I didn't have something to change the way I feel because of all the bad behaviors I was doing, right? All the things I was doing that I knew weren't right. So you add guilt and shame on top of that, right? And so you got all this guilt and shame, and then you got me feeling less than, and then you got me needing substances to make me feel like I can do stuff, and then all these things start compounding each other. And so then the addict just gets lost in a sea of, it's like a circle jerk, a sea of just repeating the same vicious cycle. Yep, and now addiction been classified as a brain disorder. Maybe now doctors will be trained properly to deal with addicts. Yeah, and so that's why, you guys, like when I make videos talking about medically assisted treatment and stuff, addiction is a disease and we have to start treating it like, you know, like it is, instead of shunning drug addicts and trying to push them over into some kind of like, what are you going to do? Jail everybody that has a drug addiction? That makes no sense. They're sick. They need treatment. But I'll tell you this right now. The 30-day treatment model ain't enough time, y'all. 30 days in rehab is not shit when you've got a 15-year drug addiction. Think about it like this. You know how you build a habit, right? What do they say? You do something every day for 2 weeks and it'll become a habit, right? Try doing something every day for 15 years and breaking that habit. What you have to do when you get sober is start new habits and practice new behaviors. But what happens is when you're trying to incorporate these new behaviors, like waking up early and going to work, telling the truth, just the littlest things that y'all think would not even be a big deal, but they are. When you're trying to incorporate these new behaviors and you've got the old behaviors still inside of you, they're creeping up and they're like, you're so right. You need more than 30 days. I went to a program for 6 months. It changed my life. Hey, Easy. Yes, I always have to replace habits. Hey, Danny. That's the thing. So if more people would, it's like, I know a lot of people don't understand because they don't understand addiction or the brain of an addict. But like when you're an addict, you had to learn how to do that dope. You had to learn how to wake up every day and go to to the liquor store and get a bottle of vodka. Okay, you had to learn that when you wake up in the morning and have the shakes, that if you drink a bottle of vodka, you'll feel better. You had to learn that when you were sick off heroin, that if you did another shot, you would feel so much better, right? These are all things you have to learn. So you have to relearn how to live life without those substances. And man, can it be difficult. Because then what happens is life doesn't stop so you can relearn, okay? Life keeps punching you in the dick, okay? Straight up. And so here you are, you're trying to catch up. You're trying to catch up with life. And you add all these triggers and all these things you're trying to catch up, stress, right? Man, it's real hard sometimes, you guys. It's real hard, but real simple at the same time. Basically, that's why I'm always like, hey guys, get into some kind of program, get into therapy, do some meetings. I don't care what kind of meetings you go to, you guys. I love Alcoholics Anonymous, but you do you. Whatever you got to do to help change your thinking. All I know is that for me, especially at the beginning of my recovery, you guys, the first year. Oh, okay. Amy says the minute you leave treatment, you go home and you run into the same people. So that's the thing, Amy. There's this thing that they say in NA, they say people, places, and things. So just like you're changing, well, you know what, Danny? I've heard a lot of people say that they count it as a meeting, but I don't know. I guess you say it does. Hey, Julie. I guess it's hey, where two or more are gathered together, you can have a meeting, you know. And here we are. We got 16 people in here. Amy, you're right. If I never worked for me because I never listened to any suggestions and wanted to do it my way. Okay, so Easy just brought up a really, really, really good topic. So that's the thing. When we get sober, we have this thing called pride and ego. And so sober for so many years and we stay out there in the madness is because we think in our little brains that we can do this all by ourselves. We tell ourselves, I should be able to handle this. I'm grown. This is just a little problem. I can get it licked. I'll stop tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll stop. These are all the things that we tell ourselves instead of just reaching out for help. Because really, you guys, you cannot do this alone. I don't care where you get the help. I don't care if you go down to the Jehovah's Witness church and go to church every day there. I don't care, but you need help. And you need, ideally, you need help from somebody that's been through it, from another addict or an alcoholic, because they are going to know when you're hustling them. They're going to know when you're manipulating, and they're going to call you out on your BS. Okay? So ideally, if you can find a group of addicts and alcoholics who are recovering, get with them. Get with them and say, hey, I need some help. Can I come hang out with you guys? And that's the hardest part. The hardest part is like asking for help. Because who wants to, man, it's hard. It's hard to ask for help, you guys. But I promise you that after you do it, best decision you will ever make. The minute that I realized that I couldn't do this on my own, which is when my son got taken from me, it snapped me right out of it, you guys. That's when I realized, like, I'm going to have to get some assistance. I'm going to have to get another woman who's been through this who can help me. I'm going to have to talk to somebody about these stupid thoughts that go through my mind. Because that's what will happen, you guys. My brain, it will tell me, Nicole, you've gained so much weight in sobriety. Why don't you go to the doctor and get prescribed Adipex, and then you'll lose all this weight so quickly and you'll be supermodel again. Adipex is like legal methamphetamine. And so if I get on that, I'm going to be all around tweaking all everywhere. Easy says, I wish I listened to my first rehab. Instead, I lived miserable for another 10 years with so many rehabs in between until I finally gave in. And that's what it is. It's like we just have to, it's called, what do they say in the big book, y'all? They say we have to smash our pride and illuminate every dark cranny of our lives and share it with someone. Okay? So instead of having this pride and this ego and thinking, I can't tell anybody my big, deep, dark secret. You got to smash your pride. Find someone, anyone, hey Layla, that has been through it, and share with them that you're struggling. Share with them that you need help. Level that pride. Admit that you need help, and get a flashlight and shine it on that addiction. Shine the devil out of that, because that's what it is. Addiction hides in the isolation. It hides in the darkness. It hides in the, unhappy, terrible shit. And that's what addiction does. And so if you can get with somebody and you can light that up, change your life forever. What's that, Neil? Oh, okay. Okay, let me read these comments. Hold on, guys. Okay, so my kids drive me to want to drink every afternoon. Still, after 2 years, I have to get breaks from them instead. Okay, so Danny, let's talk about that. So Danny is a mom. She has 2 kids under what? The age of 4? Or under 7, I think? And she says that it's difficult for her because she gets stressed out, And listen, number one thing that we do here on my channel is we do not mom shame. So, girl, I can feel that. I know I only have 1 kid and he drives me insane. Because isn't it so true that the people closest to you, the people that you love the most, are the ones that are going to drive you to drink? 10 and 4, homeschool and work from home. Okay, so what I would do if I was you is I would call my mom or somebody close to me, and I would take 1 day a week, 2 if you can, 1 day at the beginning of the week, Monday or Sunday, and 1 day at the end of the week, Saturday, and do a Danny day. Do a day where you have the family come over and they keep the kids, or they take the kids somewhere else to the Mid-American Museum or the park, and you go and you do, if you just want to take a hot bath and lay in bed all day, then do that. That's what when I first got my life together, I was so afraid because I didn't know how to be a mom. Nate had just came home. I had just got custody of him back, and I was freaking out, you guys, because I was like, I can't do this. I don't know how to be a mom without drugs. I don't know how to be anything without being high. So when I got my son back, I was scared. I would cry every single day. And I didn't want to fail. And I guess that not wanting to fail really helped push me, right? Because I wanted to be the best mom for my son. Because I wasn't a mom to him at all. So when I got him back, I was so afraid that I was going to screw up, And so I went to therapy. That's the first thing I did. Thank you, Easy. Is I got a therapist. And I started going to see my therapist and talking to her about how I felt about my son and how I felt like I failed him. And I felt all this shame because I used while I was pregnant, and how I was so worried that he was not going to be okay. And then how I know that God protected my son from me. He protected my son from me, and he made my baby perfect, and he gave me my son just at the right time for me to get better. And I hate to say that it took that, because I wish it hadn't, you guys. I wish that I could tell you that I got pregnant and I went out and I became an organic vegetarian. And I ran a mile every day. But I got pregnant and I freaked out, you know, and I didn't do anything right. But Nathaniel has been my motivation to change. And having him back in my life and having custody of him, it's been so scary because I didn't want to be a bad mom, you know. It is the most hard. It is the most hard to forgive myself, you guys. I hold myself to such a high standard, especially about my son. And it just is, it's difficult. But Danny, you got to have some time for you, you know. I know you know this. I know you know this. And I can just imagine how difficult that could be to have your babies at home all day long. I'm going to tell you guys this. Nate didn't get into school until this year. So I had him for, you know, 3.5 years every day at home. Because when he was taken away from me, he was only gone for about 6 months, maybe 7. I can't really remember, but not very long. So when he got taken away, I got my act together. Like, I snapped out of it real quick. That's all I needed to get my act together, was to lose my son. But I need this time where my son's at school. In fact, okay, I'm fixing to go to work in just about 10 minutes. This time while my son's at school, this gives me an opportunity to come on and do my videos. This gives me an opportunity to get myself freshened up. This gives me an opportunity to sit with my husband and lay in bed with him and be alone with him, which we haven't been able to be alone, you guys, in 3.5 years. Because, well, that's just how it is. When you have a 4-year-old or a kid, a toddler, they want to be in between you at all times. And that's how Nathaniel is. He wants to be right in the middle of me and Daddy. He is the glue that binds us all together. My son is the most loving, caring, amazing little boy. And he is so special, you know, and because of him, I get to have a whole new life. And that's why staying sober is so important to me. Because I don't ever want to put my son through that again. Easy. That is, yes, it was. And you know, you guys, I know some people that doesn't work for them. They don't snap out of it. Maybe, you know, and that, when I see someone who doesn't snap out of it when their children are being taken away, it breaks my heart, because I know how hard it was for me, okay? When I went to treatment, I was still trying to get over on everybody. Y'all heard the story. I was taking Xanax, sneaking them in, and all kinds of stuff, trying to stay high while I was in rehab, right? And then I just had a moment of clarity. I had been in there for about 2 weeks, and something just hit me. And I thought, I'm going to lose my son. You know, and then it became a reality to me. I think that when it first happened, it was a reality because I was in treatment, but it was like not, you know what I'm saying? But then I got really in trouble because I was sneaking drugs into the treatment center. I'm telling you guys, I was the epitome of drug addict whenever I was in my active addiction. Like, if you name it, I've done it, okay? And I'm not proud of that, but what I'm saying is, why I tell you guys that is because now look at me. Look at where I'm at today, you guys. Like, I'm so different. It blows my mind. It literally blows my mind. Like, I've got a doot a little bit over here. I am so different from when I was in active addiction. So different. It's amazing. It's a miracle. That's the only way I can explain it to you, is that it's a miracle. It is a damn miracle, because I was so selfish, so self-centered. All I thought about was me. Drugs. You know, I hurt my husband. I hurt my son. I hurt my mom and dad. I hurt my sisters. I wasn't even a sister. They might as well just had a dog for a sister, because that's how bad of a sister I was. Wow, I was not there, you guys. I was so absent. I'm just grateful that I'm not like that anymore. It's a miracle, y'all. That's all I can tell you is that it's a miracle. Because I could not have changed on my own without some help from people, you know? So anyway, I'm going to get off here and go to work. I love you guys. I just wanted to have a quick chat with you guys. I feel like this was a really good chat this morning. It's got me ready to go to work and conquer the day. So just know that, you guys, I'm always here if you need to talk. And tonight I'll go on at 6:30 like we did yesterday. So 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, okay? And I'll see you guys tonight. Well, like I said, we're going to do a step 1 meeting, okay? We're going to do, you'll see. You'll like it, though. And I love you guys, and I hope y'all have a great night or day. I'll see y'all when I get home tonight, 6:30 p.m.